Hello, friends, family, and everyone in between. Welcome to the final season finale of the FillGood Podcast.
Season 1 finale.
Season 1 finale.
We here. God. Holy crap-oli.
That did it.
Oh, wow. It feels like just yesterday we were learning what a podcast was. And now look at us here. 1 season in the books and all the gray hairs that came with it.
A whole 8 episodes of waxing on, waxing off, podcast style.
Pretty much. I don't know who's Mr. Miyagi in this group, but it sure is
Wes. It's totally Wes.
It's absolutely Wes. But anywho, everybody, I'm one of your hosts, Mike Osgood.
I'm one of your hosts, Byron Filler.
And today we are chatting with ourselves about what has made us feel good with this podcast and about the good that we think we've put in the world. And
I feel
also
so naked now.
Yeah, and also reflecting on all the goodness that our guests have kind of brought into the world as well. But first and foremost, Byron, how are you?
I'm doing good. Admittedly, the past couple of weeks have been up and down with anxiety through retrograde and just facing all of that stuff. We're coming into summer and just trying to juggle the lot of different things. I think in a previous episode I was talking about photography NFTs. So that's like slowly moving forward. And then, looking for jobs. I don't know, not too much that I can specifically speak to. I'm just generally trying to keep my shit together. And
you know what? You do it.
Yeah.
You do it.
One thing that I will actually speak to that has been a bit of a development through the previous few episodes is I've been reforming a little bit of a new relationship with cannabis. I stopped for a very long time, and now I'm enjoying a recommended can on behalf of Mike, and this stuff is nice.
It is.
I like it.
Why don't you tell the people what CANN is?
It's a little bit of THC, a little bit of CBD, a little bit of love in a can with fun flavors. I've got grapefruit rosemary right now, and it just gives you a little bit of pep in your step. By the way, this isn't an ad. This is just me coping.
It absolutely
with life.
Could be an ad though, Can. So please hit us up.
No, it could. It could.
No.
It's been interesting to I've gone back and forth with it, and it's nice to have it's all a little bit more CBD based in my life obviously now, and it's one of those things where I stopped because I was in a dysfunctional place in my life when it was I just kind of need to stop, and now it's one of those things where I am rediscovering the good aspects of cannabis and CBD, and also the technology has changed so much that it especially with marijuana becoming legalized in California, mostly throughout the country, and it's the accessibility for what you need on a very microscopic specific basis it's really nice.
I 100% second all that, as I'm the one that turned you to that. My whole experience with cannabis has definitely become an evolution in myself, as many who knew me when I was younger, my parents were absolutely completely against it, and then it was basically super stigmatized within me growing up through my teenage years. All my friends partook in it, and I was the only one that did not, because I was like, no, it will do so many things. And by the way, kids, it will do a lot of negative things to you in your teenage years. And it is scientifically recommended that if you do start cannabis, start in your 20s.
Yeah.
Which I did.
Yeah. No, this is like, I do want to make it clear, like, moderation, because all good. It's not just like we're talking about this on a scale of like. I think the conversation around cannabis is incredibly complicated because it is also medicine, but it's also drugs. So it's hard to have that conversation in a really meaningful way. But we are definitely, at least I am, like, of the, like, opinion of, like, if you can do it in a healthy way and it helps you, like, all the power to you.
Yeah. Like, for me, I'm not a fan of smoking marijuana, but I do enjoy, like, the cans that I've recommended to you because, one, it's delicious. Two, it's a great mixer as well. And also it doesn't get you completely obliterated stoned, so you're able to still kind of go along your day and feel fine and just feel like not as anxious, not as worried, and be able to focus on the things that really matter at the end of the day.
Wasn't that so funny? Like, the goal in your 20s was like, let's get completely fucked up. And now that I'm, like, in my, like, early 30s, I'm like, I kind of just want to be able to go to sleep and wake up the next morning, like, not needing 11 cups of coffee.
My biggest thing is, like, I want to be able to, like, just enjoy a moment without having an anxious breakdown. And being able to spend and enjoy the time with who I'm with and be able to have conversations and just remember the moment and not get super blackout fucking wasted.
Yes.
Leave that to the 20-year-olds. Us in the 30s, we're here. We made it. Enjoy and savor the moment as we go. I'm really glad that you were able to find this kind of more peaceful relationship with it and be able to enjoy it in a more lighthearted and more as a medicinal way as opposed to just a means to pacifying the world.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate that. But enough about me and my drug habit. Mike, how are you?
Oh, brother, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I started a new job. I'm good at it, which is even better. I've already gotten recognition throughout the company for the job that I'm doing. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. My little puppy Rosie is doing better, and she is stupidly cute. She's currently passed out on the couch and acting like she doesn't listen to me right now. I get it. I talk a lot.
Yeah, she's very quickly produced the crap out of this show. We have much better quality now.
She does, and she has. But yeah, my life is going well right now. I'm sad that our season 1 is ending. It felt like it came too soon, and I felt really bad as we're coming to our last half of the guest. It's like, I don't want this to end, but the biggest and spoilery news is that it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not.
We do have a bunch of announcements about our future good. We'll leave that at the end for what we're gonna be doing for all of time with the FillGood Pod, or at least all of what we know we are going to be doing for all of time. I feel like all of time's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure. I don't know about that. We'll be on our deathbeds and be like, hello, friends, family, and everyone in between. No, but yeah, we have a plan for season 2. We have a plan for what we're doing during the summer, and we can't wait to share that with you. But Byron, do you wanna explain who our guests are today?
Our guests are us.
Really?
Yeah, it's just us. We wanted to go through a bit of a recap of what we've learned, the things that, because we're very new to all of this, and we came into, Mike, you basically came up to me and said the 4 magic words that anybody who has no idea what they're doing with their life wants to hear. Want to do a podcast. And
Yep.
And it's we came into this with really the best of intentions of having a conversation around doing good, trying to be put our best foot forward, and realize that what we wanted to do, obviously have fun, but really was about destigmatizing a hard conversation. And I think we kind of came into the sense of, like, we wanted to do good. We didn't quite always know what that was going to look like. And I think through the process of speaking to people and just asking them, like, that kind of vague question of, like, what's the good you're putting into the world? Like, it sounds very cheesy and hunky-dory, but it's really complicated.
It's more of a challenge in a way.
Yeah.
That's something that I felt as time has gone on, because we've had some conversations that haven't necessarily been published. We've had some conversations that have been edited because of the way of that, because of that question of, yes, when you ask somebody what is the good that they put out in the world, they have to think about it. And when it comes down to what you put out in the world, I can tell you from my end, this podcast is one of the first things that I've ever done that has had my full 100% personality, thought process, things like that, and put out there for the world to listen, to criticize, and to do all those things. And more often than not, that terrifies the living hell out of me, because I'm very much an extrovert. I'm very much a performer, but I've always been hesitant of putting something out there of my own because of the fear of others' opinions and them hating it, trashing it, and not being good enough. But
yeah,
when you ask other people, like, say, an actor or a political fundraiser or someone who works in content moderation who's also making cartoons for kids that are neurodivergent, when you ask them these questions of what's the good that they put out in the world, they're able to find that answer.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit of time to actually figure out that, hey, the stuff that we're doing has some good. That you can pull something from pain. You can pull something from trials and tribulation. You can pull something from anything. And a lot of things are learning experiences. And that's something that I have learned going through this, of being vulnerable, of being able to ask questions to people, some of which we know very well, some of which we don't. And being able to find that way to build that natural conversation and learn.
What made you overcome that fear of judgment, that you felt doing this was more important than succumbing to the that voice that was self-conscious?
I will be 100% honest. I am still fighting it. I fight it with every single episode that we do. And this year, 2021, I started the year off, and I've mentioned this before, I do a theme every year of, instead of a resolution. Resolutions can easily be broken, and people feel drastically defeated once that resolution is broken, and that sucks. I've done that in the past. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gym like 4 times a week, every week this whole year. Let's go. And it didn't happen. But if I tell myself, okay, I think one of my years was no bullshit 2K18. So trying to stand up for myself when it comes to...
I actually remember what the theme was for that year, because like that, I feel like people like don't remember their resolutions because they probably make the same resolution, not ever like doing it.
Yeah. It's just something that's a little bit easier to remember. It's a mantra that I can tell myself throughout the year. So like this year was just fucking do it. Like I started off this year. Yeah. I started off this year with some kind of like personal things that happened. Like I lost my job, and I was just kind of lost for a moment. But I knew, like, even before I lost my job, that this was something that I actually wanted to do. And the second that I had the time available, I was like, hey, you want to know what? Let's do this. I have the time. And this is something that I've always wanted to do. So let's just do it.
Yeah.
What's holding me back? And then I couldn't think of anybody else that I would rather have hours-long conversations with than Byron Filler. So being able to have that partner in crime to also just kind of bounce it off of makes things easier. But also realizing that I'm sitting here talking for forever and people are going to think of, they're going to criticize every little word that I say, still terrifies me. And it's something that I'm constantly working through. But I'm proud of myself this year for being able to take on this challenge, of being able to chat with you and also just reach out to people that I have had personal relationships with.
Yeah.
But also be able to be vulnerable and to ask them for the opportunity to chat with them in, I would say, a little bit more of a professional setting. Even though, like, some of these people I've worked with in the past, so it's just a different kind of professional setting.
Yeah.
But getting to know everybody more, learning how to chat with people on a more personable level and just getting into the nitty gritty and having those deeper conversations has made me feel fucking great. And
right,
it's made me push aside that fear.
Whatever that like little nagging is,
that little nagging your thing.
Head, that because you're not just doing it's not just you and I doing it together. It's refreshing every time because we get to do it with someone new, and they're kind of just as scared as we are because every episode is so different. And I think the important thing, like Feel Goodies, you should know is like we let our guests dictate a lot of the episode. I mean, we do a lot of planning to guide them through it, but whatever their story is, they're taking us through it and they're guiding us through it with us, and we prefer it that way, not because it's not about not being good hosts. We have very good hosts and we make sure that everyone is very comfortable. Sorry, I'm getting a little Jewish grandmother here, but no, it's important that like the best representative of somebody's story is themselves. And that, I think, it makes it easier for us to go through it and be excited and be refreshed every single time.
Totally.
I will say, just from my past of doing stand-up, that little voice in your head, it gets easier to ignore it. You actually start using it eventually.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I like used to do was like my anxiety, my nerves, like it was the thing that I basically like bring out onto the stage, and the act ends up being this metaphorical, my anxiety and I are kind of just having a metaphorical fist fight on stage. And it's funny because it's like, even if the material doesn't work, what you end up going with is like, well, this is live and it's real and it's my pain. And it's always funny.
It always is. It's for me, like, it's always been just for full clarification. Like I've always felt a lot of pressure from friends, from family, and have always had this need to make sure that whatever I put out is good enough. And it was one of these hindrance things that if I'm going to do something, I have to do it to a caliber that I feel like those people would be accepting of.
It has to be to your standards, the standards that you set. Yeah.
And it's taken me a long time to get to that. I have been able to go out and do performances. I've been able to go on stage. I've been able to go and sing and do these things more often than not with people, and I can kind of put the pressure, I can offset some of that pressure onto them. But every time I go out and perform, I have anxiety. I have to like get myself into the zone. I'm twitching, I'm twiddling, I am doing a whole bunch of stuff to get myself pumped up. But with this year, I have been able to calm that, relax, and attack things with just a natural gusto that I never thought I'd be able to do. And I want to say thank you to you for also just kind of believing in me, and also kind of leaning on me to be your co-host. This is going to be a love letter to each other, just so everybody knows. But no, it's a thank you to Byron. It's a thank you to our team that has helped us go through, of my fiance, Alexia, who has always believed in me, who has always pushed me to do the best that I could, even when I didn't think I could. To Wes and Elisha, who would come in throughout the year to make us sound better, to give us some critiques here and there of what works, what doesn't, and to make the best damn show that we could possibly make. Like, we have people that believe in us, and I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be here, and it's cheesy to say, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like you all to give us that love, to give us that appreciation and motivation to continue to do what we do. And
it was all sort of organic though, because like I remember just from the very beginning, I think, after we talked about what we wanted to do here, we started telling people about what we were trying to do, and it wasn't like we went to we went to Alexia and Wes and Elisha for ideas, and it was this very organic, like the response was, and from other people too, like what can we do to help? And I think that to me was like, okay, this is something that is real and we have to follow our guts on. I still keep thinking back to Katie's reading and her advice about trusting our gut, because I feel like that's just been even if we don't know what we're doing, the gut instinct for me is like, just have fun, just do this and have fun, and people who are gonna vibe with it are gonna vibe with it. You can't get everyone on board. I definitely learned from comedy, but I think, like, at least for me, I'm so thankful that you asked me to do this with you, because for the longest time, I've been missing that creative force in my life. I'm also, like, especially working in the film industry, struggled to try to find that group of people that wants to make stuff and also isn't putting me in a position where I'm the only fucking like in high school I was team leader on every project that just not because it was like it's not because like they weren't doing anything, it's because my attitude is like, okay, well, like, let's just get shit done, and if I see something's not done, I'm gonna do it. That's just been my attitude. So to come into this and to be surrounded by a group of people who everyone's attitude is let's just get shit done has been the biggest anxiety reducer of my entire life. Has just been I've been so thankful for it. It's not like it's all the things I wanted, doing like comedy, doing video editing, but now it's manifested itself in such an organic and wonderful way.
I couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah, right? It's just so nice.
But you want to know what's not nice, Byron? Moments of bad.
Oh, we still have to do our moments of bad.
We still have to do our moments of bad, man. We have to do that.
Yes, but we figured what we would do a little bit of a twist on it. We're going to do moments of bad that are about the challenges of making a podcast. Mike and I are going to try to we're not putting 60 seconds. Can we just break this for season 2?
Not at all.
We're going to do a thing that is about the challenges of making a podcast that we're going to put it out there. We're going to let it go, and it's going to be gone.
And for season 2, it's going to be so much better.
Yeah. We're going to find a way to make our ideas concise for season 2. Mike, what do you want to go first? Should I go first? What do you think?
I'll go first. I'll take it. And I think this is going to be very similar to both of our moments of bad. My moment of bad is technology across everything. Yeah. Technology is such a finicky son of a bitch that you will learn as time goes on when you're doing a full production of a show that variables are abundant, and you are trying to figure out what the hell can go wrong when, and you try to plan for everything that could go wrong. And even when you sit there and set up everything to perfection, something will happen. Case in point, we had an episode this year that I had like 20 minutes into the interview, my audio just stopped recording.
Oh yeah.
And then spoilers, it was James's episode, correct?
Yeah, it was
James Miller's episode. And I had a whole like moment of freaking out because we had a backup audio that Wes was so gracious to record, and thank you, Wes, again for everything. But we had that, but it was this combination audio of everybody in between. And if you've ever done any editing, having one feed that has absolutely everything interstitched into each other is not the best. You can't separate it. You can't edit anything. Everything is one. And I was about to freak the living fuck out that we would have to do another recording, which I wouldn't mind, because I can sit there and chat with you and James for forever.
We could have probably done a whole nother episode.
I think we've recorded like 2 hours with James.
Oh man.
But
yeah.
Then, long story short, we have incredible people like Wes, who was able to figure out that the system that we were using had like this backup recording software going in the background that was able to record everybody's audio as singular pieces, so that I was able to edit things. So technology is always going to be a finicky son of a bitch, and I'm having a love-hate relationship with it all. But take technology shenanigans, take all the bugs, take all the random spontaneous hot moments with mics, take it all and be gone.
Be gone, 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 be gone. Well, don't worry, we're gonna have a new technical workflow for season 2, so we're gonna have all the growing pains to go through again.
Growing pains are a thing, and we've gone through it. But
yes,
Byron.
Yes.
What has been your bad this season?
So it's kind of navigating social media. So I'm doing a lot of the social media management, and poorly. No. I've been doing okay. I've got learning and growing pains to go. There are strengths and stretches for me that I know I'm working through, but I think for the most part it is kind of just trying to social media. I feel like has become the real life manifestation of high school, and the way that all of these numbers, the way this all works, it's very clicky.
Yeah.
I've had a person, even in my own feed, I have a very hard time making it accessible for me. And I've realized it's not just because of having autism. There are a lot of people in my life who just like social media is just fucking crazy. Also, like, the irony of my life is that I got to a place where, oh yeah, no, I have less special needs and I can talk and have full conversations, and now everybody's on the computer, so fuck me. But I digress.
What a coincidence, right?
I know, right? But no, so like different algorithms and different like new technologies that come out every 3 months, the learning curve that it takes to keep up with these kinds of things and try to figure out what works. We're still going to be doing it, and it's still going to be an uphill battle, and I've learned a lot. But fuck Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say fuck Instagram in particular.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, There's a post that we did about my new tattoo that I got this year that I have gone in, and I don't know if you have too, Byron. It keeps thinking that it's branded content. And it's not branded content. I got a tattoo, and I just wanted to celebrate the artist a little bit because Philip Fabian, who did my tattoo, is a badass artist, and he deserves the credit. So we tagged him in it, but it keeps flagging it as sponsored content and be like, if you want to tell me if I got money for that, awesome. Because I paid him a lot of money to get my tattoo done. But if I should be receiving some cash, please let me know.
Yeah. No, it's... I won't say too much more about it, but it's one of those things where we're eventually gonna figure it out. Our intention too, especially why this is so important to me, is like we don't want this to just be an insulated conversation between Mike and myself and our guests. We want you all to be a part of this too, and we want to make sure that this is an open and safe community, and it's hard to grow that when and know how to make it safe when there's just so much contradictory advice. So the bad that we're gonna be gone is the confusion of the internet and all of that tomfoolery. We're just gonna make it be gone.
Be gone, tomfoolery. Be gone, tomfoolery. And it's gone. Did you see how fast that went?
I know.
I can't even remember what tomfoolery means anymore.
I saw it crash like Wile E. Coyote.
Went straight into that boulder. It's ridiculous. Acme, thank you for sponsoring this podcast. But I think we should probably start talking about our recap of this season. This season, we have chatted with a bunch of different people. We have chatted with people who have come from a variety of backgrounds, from a variety of professions, and have gone through such different experiences that it has taught us a lot. And we thought it would be wise for us to just kind of go back and think about some of the things that we have learned through our conversations with the people from season 1. So, Byron, I want to ask you, what have you learned from these 7 people?
So I've been mulling this over and trying to think a lot about and there's a thread that throughout the entire season that I couldn't get out of my head because I kept seeing it, and it was about being brave. Every single person that we talked to at some point or another, either they faced a crucible where they had to change, or it would swallow them whole, or they went and faced a voluntary crucible because they wanted to be better. So good examples of this for me are Tila's whole episode is basically about being brave, facing body dysmorphia, facing anxiety and depression, coming out twice. First off, coming out the first time, I can't I'm a straight person, so I don't know what it's like to come out. I would imagine that's scary. The second time sounds fucking exhausting.
It sounds I can't even fathom. Hats off to her. I'll also just kind of tag in on this of one of the biggest things that I've taken from this is not only bravery but confidence. Yes. Every person that we've spoken to, from Noah being a political fundraiser who has gone through rejection from his own communities, into facing adversity and then taking it head on and doing fundraising for the fight for equality. Yeah. For Katie to go and do the thing that she loves with Reiki healing and tarot card reading, and just being able to take that on. That's a very stigmatized profession. And also her burlesque dancing. That's something that we weren't even able to cover. Yeah.
We should bring her back on and talk about that sometime. We'll link this after the episode. She dances through an organization called Thick Strip. I think they're like coming back to LA sometime soon. I don't have all the information in front of me, but it is I've been to a show. It's fucking awesome. It's just so much fun.
But it's just like we've had all these incredibly brave and confident people, and they've been able to take this confidence, this inner fire within them, to go out and do these awesome and amazing things. Liz being able to go out and do some performances that are, one, emotionally taxing and incredibly profound, but also being able to find herself while still doing it. With Zach being able to go to the deepest, darkest depths of the internet and having to combat that, but also being able to still find that optimism in a bit of everything and being able to create content for people who need it the most. Like, there's something about this first season of Guest that just really inspired me to find that inner confidence for us to go out and make the best possible thing and tell the best possible stories. And also learning too that one of the other things that I learned is that everybody is different in that way, but everybody has that story that can be told, and don't let anybody discredit your story. When I think back through our interviews, I think Liz said it best. You and I are two 30-something-year-old white guys. I'm saying this as a means of hey guys, this is something that we got criticized about for saying. Byron and I are two 30-something-year-old white guys. We're straight and everything, but we've come from different experiences that have made us the people who we are.
Yes.
Liz is a Japanese and white American person, and she has had such a crazy story that has made her to who she is. Tila being the same way, James, Zach, Katie, Noah, and Rod. Like, everybody has had these stories that have shaped them into who they are. And when people are vulnerable enough to tell you about those stories, you should listen, because you never know what somebody's gone through, and you will learn something great and amazing about the people that you've spoken to.
I think that lesson about difference it's an old lesson that you keep learning over and over for that specific reason, because everyone has such a very unique circumstance. So I think, and we're talking about diversity or mental health or sexuality or gender, whatever it may be that makes up a person. I think a lot of the approach that you and I have had to talking to people about these things is I'm just realizing it's through the lens of what they do. So these things that are the aspects of them that are of what they are that are important to them comes through that experience of doing what they do. When we were chatting with Rod about music and his experience being a Asian American in the music industry, that's something only he can speak to. And not only are we learning more about the music industry, we're learning about his experience as an Asian American as well. And we learned it contextually through him talking about his dream journal too. It wasn't something that we had to just outright ask. It was just, it's so prevalent in the details.
But also too, speaking to that, when we were chatting with Rod, was right during the heart of a very prominent string of attacks against Asian Americans.
We recorded that episode the day before or after.
It was literally within a
48-hour period.
48 hours, and it was something that we couldn't, like, one, our hearts and everything go out to, like, the Black Lives Matters movement, to supporting the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities that are being attacked. It's like just having some empathy there to show some support. And for us, we felt like we couldn't fully contextualize it in the way that Rod could, and we wanted to make sure that he could just be heard.
Yeah.
Because Rod had a lot of thoughts, and he published it on his own channels, but we felt that he can definitely talk better to this situation than we can. Yes. And we wanted to make sure that that was heard. And we want to once again thank Rod for being able to be that vulnerable during our conversation, and to, one, just being a badass guy. Like, I love Rod so much. He's such a good dude.
Yeah, he was really fun to talk to, very well spoken. I think that was another thing that everyone we spoke to at some capacity or another was all very well spoken, whether or not they had done a podcast before or been interviewed in this kind of manner. When we put them on the spot and said, hey, tell us about what you're passionate about, because that's really, at the end of the day, I think, like, when we're talking about the good you put into the world and what makes you feel good, it is like, what is the thing that flips your switch? What is the thing that fills you to the brim with so much passion that you're overflowing with it? And they most certainly overflowed with it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, kind of to that point, was there anything that surprised you this season?
Yeah.
We chatted with people that we knew ish in some capacity. Was there anything that took you by surprise?
This is all gonna sound a little messy, so I'm gonna talk through this idea because it's gonna be a developing idea, but I have the hooks and the threads of what I am meaning here, so it's
We're
a
here
little bit
for it.
It's a little bit so I'll start off with the two thoughts are, it's humility as well as being an open book. So one of the things we ask people is, in our questionnaire, when we go through the pre-interview with them, we ask them, like, what is there something you don't want to talk about? And I think a lot of people do feel that they are an open book, but it isn't until you get into the circle that you kind of go, okay, yeah, no, I can't talk about it. Whether or not you're, protecting your own interests or someone else's interests, but putting that idea on pause for a second. Coming over to the humility side, you're talking about, like, being impressed by how much confidence people have when they come to us, but something that surprised me is, like, they have confidence, but it doesn't come from this egotistical place. And I think a lot of the keys of positivity and balancing and thinking about, what can I talk about, what can't I talk about, because I think, like, when people got to a point where they realized, there were certain things that they realized they couldn't talk about, the way they handled it, the confidence they put into it, came from a place of balancing their ego, which, to me, the key of balancing ego is being vulnerable and having humility. It's having the ability to recognize that whatever you are going through in the moment, because you're sharing that moment with someone else, they too are going through that exact same thing. So if you are talking to somebody about something that's very personal to you, they might not be able to completely empathize, but they can sympathize in the moment, and it can make it really hard to want to be that open book. But the way that, once people came on and they realized what we were doing and how they were handling it, and also that they trusted us so much. I think that's another thing that surprised me so much, where, we're kind of just having fun. And I think, like, I feel like I grew so much because we had a couple people I had never met before, And even the people who I've known for years trust us with their story. That takes so much ego balance. It takes so much humility to come in and come to us with open arms like that. So it's a lot of threads that connect, but that was a lot of it wasn't that just like one thing. It was like so many different things that feed into each other. So it's like it's so hard to. I hate consolidating my ideas. If you guys haven't,
you want to know what?
Found out.
Fuck consolidation. Be gone with consolidation.
Right?
That was great.
Thank you.
No, I can second that 100%. I learned so much about some people that I've known for years and did not expect it. I then also learned so much about you. I learned a lot about me.
I learned so much about you too.
Yeah. I learned a little bit more about myself too as we were going through this of like, oh shit, like I really emphasized with that. Like when we're chatting with Tila in regards to sort of like body dysmorphia and through some eating things, like I definitely have battled my own body issues too. And, you know, it's being able to find those new empathetic factors that quite frankly, a lot of people are missing nowadays. And the fact that everybody that we chatted with has that empathy, that humility, those little bits of just allowing themselves to be exposed was comforting. It was heartwarming. It was great. Because at the end of the day, we didn't talk that much. We didn't. No. And we didn't want to, because we wanted the people that we spoke to tell their stories. And with that, we were able to learn so much about these people and their experiences. And I didn't expect to get that much from people. And I loved every single second of it, because it takes a lot to be that vulnerable, to be that open.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful that our guests were able to allow us to be that medium for them to speak through. And I just love everybody. It was great.
Me too. Great. I think that was the thing that was just like made me so happy was, and you don't want it to end because they're all so wonderful. They all have amazing things to say. I just want to get on. Honestly, I don't even have to do this podcast. I just want to do a Zoom call with
no, seriously. Yeah. Like, I know that you've hung out with Katie recently. I've been messaging Rod. I FaceTime with Noah. We've been messaging with Tila. Like, everybody that we've spoken to, we chat with on a regular basis everyone. Now.
And they are they're as lovely on text as they are virtually through camera with a microphone.
Yeah, like literally what you got on the podcast is who they are in person. Like like nobody was fake. Everybody was who they are on that recording. Speaking to that, do you want to know some updates on our guest? Should we let everybody know what's going on with our guests since we've chatted with them?
Why don't we work it backwards from most recent to like the first episode, which like starting with Zach, there's not much to say. If you listen to the last episode, like it's he's a happy dad, and his son is still the smiliest baby in the world. But we love him, so we wanted to give him this shout out because that's what we do here.
It absolutely is.
What's going on with Liz?
Liz, holy crap. Liz has worked with Marvel recently. She did a podcast with Marvel where it's still going on, where it's Old Man Star-Lord and Rocket Raccoon kind of going through the life of what they've gone through and some more crazy kooky adventures. She worked in Marvel. She's technically a Marvel superhero, which holy shit.
We talked to a Marvel superhero. I feel like I'm jittery. I have goosebumps. It's fucking rad.
But no, she's done that podcast, which has come out. The latest season of Mayans on FX has come out, so be sure to see her on that. She has a variety of projects which are in the works that we cannot talk about because we don't know anything about.
I'm telling you right now, one of them is, and we can't talk about it, but it's fucking awesome, and I am like on the edge of my butt.
I am also on the edge of my butt as well. But like, props to you, Liz. You are killing it, and I wish for you to just keep on keeping on. But hey, Byron, what's going on with James?
James, not too much that I can speak to. He just got he just switched over to a new job at Ford. He was working at Momentum in London for quite some time, and as far as I know, the virtual experience platform that he was working on is out.
Nice,
right?
That's awesome.
But that's what's going on with James, and he's still as awesome as ever. What are the updates on Tila?
I mean, with Tila, she is not only still being the badass self that she is, doing all the motorcycle riding and everything like that, but shoplaroo.com is still going on and still going strong. She has released a variety of new scents of candles on her site. Everything from, I think, Healer is one of the new ones. Which here, I'm just gonna read a little bit of this because it just smells so good. One of our first ritual scented candles, frankincense and myrrh. The two main scents of this candle have been used for many centuries, known for their healing abilities and protective powers, topped with raw clear quartz, which is considered, quote, the master healer, end quote. Like, she's got everything. From badass Harley smelling candles to straight up candles that have crystals in it. Is everything in between. But no, she's doing great. She's keeping at it. Go to shoplaroo.com. Tell her that the FillGood Podcast guys sent you, and she will just give you love. We can't get you a discount, but we can absolutely get you some love over there. But we also have some updates from Rod Kim, which is pretty dope. We have had many conversations with him since the interview has gone. We've played Among Us with him, and he is still just going on and going strong. Zach James's debut EP, Faded and Animated, which Rod had collaborated with, has been released, so make sure you go out and listen to that. He's been also working on a variety of his own original songs and potentially a new album. I don't know. We shall see.
We shall see.
A lot of projects that are also under wraps and that we can't disclose because we have people who do cool things. But Rod, again, another high five to you. Wishing you the best, brother. But that's Rod. What's going on with Katie Champagne?
Well, last time we were talking to Katie, she was talking about her podcast, and now it is officially out. We mentioned it at the end of a previous episode, but we'll mention it again. It's Will They, Won't They?
Woo woo!
The podcast for the hopeless and the romantic. They're talking about rom-coms, their favorite rom-coms, going through not only what they love about it, but also just looking at it, taking off the rose-colored glasses and looking at the problematic things about it. And the last one I listened to was 10 Things I Hate About You. I think they have a new one they release every Friday. All right, y'all have to check out her podcast. It's called Will They, Won't They? You can find it wherever you can get your podcasts. Her co-host is also Danielle Organ. I hope I'm saying Organ correctly. She's at Danielle Organ on Instagram. We will make sure to link that as well for you guys, because you should follow her too. She is both of them together. It's like listening to Bubblegum laugh and try to do English accents.
But last but not least, we have Noah Mayer, our first guest, our pilot, our test dummy. Noah, thank you again for being that first spot for us. Noah has been having incredible success with his fundraising business, and they have gotten up to 20 clients on their end, which you guys have to understand how hard it is to become a client for a fundraising firm. But the clients that they have gotten are monumental. They are huge foundations and also incredible politicians and just great people overall. Noah, you're doing the world a service. You're doing some good out there. Keep on keeping on and doing what you do.
Hells to the yes.
Hells yes. Hells yes.
Yep.
Yeah, for those who can't see, Byron is currently being swarmed by a cat on his head.
This is what
very standard procedure for FillGood podcast episodes. He has a parrot, basically.
He has like this crazy separation anxiety where like if he's not allowed to be in a room or be near, he loves The Office.
I think every single guest has seen your cat's butthole.
Yes.
It's sort of it's a hazing mechanism that he does to all of our guests. I think that is a good point for us to just kind of end on and start talking about what is our future good.
Our future good. Why don't we just start off with season 2 and just like make sure that we're very clear. Like we're coming back.
We are coming back. We are taking a summer break ish.
Yes. We need the time to. We've done a lot. We've learned a lot. We also have some format changes that we would like to make. That also includes trying to make this on video, put it up on YouTube as well, and so that if you guys want the option, you can see us as well as listen to us.
You can see our beautiful faces, and also the much more beautiful face of our guest, of whomever that may be.
Exactly. So we want to take a little bit more time to make sure we're getting that right, and also Cooper's butt. Like, you guys,
Cooper's butt.
You guys, his butt, it's cat butt. I'm not gonna hype this up. It's not.
It's a cat butt.
Yeah, it is what it is. But the other thing too is I think something we realized is when we're doing this format, the way that we do it takes time and consideration. We always want to make sure that we're giving our guests the best representation, and that takes time and planning. And so we've learned a lot, so we want to take what we've learned, step back for a second, and recharge. And I think we're planning for the fall to come back.
Later summer, earlier fall, TBD, but 2021 you're still going to get some more FillGood podcast content. But
exactly,
that's not all that we have up our sleeves. Because this summer comes FillGood Games. Byron and I are going to be kind of switching things up a little bit over the summer. We're going to be experimenting with doing some live streaming on Twitch, where you can find us there at FillGood Games. That's FillGood Games. And we are going to be streaming with some of the other FillGood fam, with games that make them feel good and learning the ins and outs. We might have some feel bad moments as well and torture ourselves with some other games that could potentially cause us to rage. But we will see, and we will we're just gonna have fun with it, because at the end of the day, video games are two things that make Byron and I feel good, and we would love to share that with you all as well.
Look, as long as we don't play Mario Party 6, we will not start World War 3, so we'll just avoid that.
But also Mario Kart in general, because I know that I have definitely cursed your name many a times as we've played that, because if anybody's played Mario Kart with Byron, he's good. He is my biggest challenge. And I have kicked his ass. He has kicked my ass, and the rivalry is there. But maybe you all can see that over this summer. And please feel free to watch us. We'll let you guys know when we start streaming. And it's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun.
We've also, since we plan on doing video more towards the fall with the actual podcast, we have some ideas for just some other video content, some extra. We're going to try to put up some random YouTube videos throughout the summer. We also just generally have some fun extras that are, some stuff that was left out of the episodes that we didn't get to put into the episodes. Not for time, just as much as it was a little bit more extra than what we could put in the main episode. So we're going to do a little compilation episode a little farther down the line. We've also got a plan for just a general random feel-good episode, not the normal podcast, just some fun chit-chats with someone we want to talk to.
Yeah, a filler good podcast. It's our filler episode of the summer to tie you over until season 2 kicks in.
Oh, it works in 2 ways. But so you will not be completely devoid of content. We are slowly growing. We want to keep this going. We love you all so much, and we're making this happen. And at the end of the day, I honestly I want you guys to know we're having so much fun doing this.
If you couldn't tell, based off this episode, we're having a blast.
Yes,
and we want to continue to have that blast with you all.
Exactly. And we're not completely gone. If you want to, and by the way, if you follow us on our socials, we're at FillGood Pod. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and if you find us there, you should also find us on, go to our YouTube, go to our Twitch, at FillGood Games, to get notifications on when we put up YouTube videos, when we start doing our Twitch streams. You can also talk to us on Discord. We're not completely gone. We're hanging out.
We're here.
Always, you can always chit chat with us, even when we're not making an episode. We would love to hear from you. And you can find all of that. We have our link trees in our on our socials, and we're here and we love you. And
we do. And we basically are just trying to say we'll be right back. And it's not goodbye, but it's a little bit of see you later. And
exactly.
I think that's really the best way that we could end this. So I am one of your hosts, Mike Osgood.
I am one of your hosts, Byron Filler. And we will catch y'all on the flip flop.
The flip.
Flip it, you know what?
Flip. I'm going to trail this and make it fade.
You should make sure that you mention that before the fade.
No,
I'm going to trail this and make it fade.
We'll see if
and it'll be a meta
we'll
conversation.
Just let people understand how dumb we sound at the very end.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be a meta conversation as we fade out. Yeah. Oh yeah, Cooper too.